Thank you. It is now time for question period. The member from Newmarket Aurora.
Thank you, Speaker. My question is to the Premier. The Premier will note that the galleries are filling with people from York Region. They are seniors. They are people with disabilities. They're on their way in, and they're being joined by a number of personal support workers. These are seniors who are receiving on-site 24/7 personal care through York Region's Alternative Community Living Program. My question to the Premier is this. The folks are listening. They would like to know from the Premier herself, why has the Ministry of Health disqualified the region of York from continuing to provide the essential alternative community living services on which they depend?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I welcome everyone to Queen's Park who is concerned about this issue, because we have made a commitment as government to ensuring that our seniors are getting the right care at the right place and in the right time period, Mr. Speaker. So that includes homemaking, it includes security checks and care coordination. So, Mr. Speaker, here's my understanding of what has happened, and I'm happy to have this discussion with the member opposite. I understand that the region of York recently made a business decision not to provide assisted living services to both high-risk and low-risk seniors. However, the Central Local Health Integration Network is ensuring that every patient currently receiving assisted living services will continue to do so. So, in fact, that care will be continuous, Mr. Speaker, although it's being delivered through the Local Health Integration Network. So that's my understanding of what's happening, Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary.
Speaker, the Premier does not have a good understanding of what happened. These people did not make their way here today to hear the Premier tell them half-truths. It is disrespectful of the Premier to even
I'm going to ask the member to withdraw.
Withdraw. It is disrespectful, Speaker, of the Premier to even attempt to represent that what is a cut in service to seniors and people with disabilities is somehow the fault of York Region. Here is the truth. The truth is that the Ministry of Health policy disqualified York Region from continuing to provide that service. And here is the result. Mohammed Asafuddin is 70 years old. He's blind. He is a double leg amputee. He's a diabetic. And he has recently undergone cancer treatment. His services are being cancelled. He is being asked to actually pay for additional services.
Thank you.
I want to ask the Premier, what's her response to that?
Stop, please. Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Thank you. Premier.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I think what is responsible is that people have all the information, and so to scaremonger and to suggest that somehow service is not going to be provided is not appropriate, Mr. Speaker. So currently the patients of the region of York's Assisted Community Living Program are being transferred to experienced providers who will be able to provide the enhanced care offered through the new policy, Mr. Speaker. So as of April 1st, the new providers will be offering 24-hour, 7-day-a-week on-site care at all the region of York buildings where this service was previously provided. So there is a change, Mr. Speaker. There is a change in the delivery. But to suggest that the care is not going to be provided is absolutely not accurate. And in fact, what is happening, Mr. Speaker, is that the care will be continued and will be enhanced.
Final supplement.
Well, here is the accurate representation, and I'm sorry that the Premier has to read from her speaking notes that someone wrote for her that are inaccurate. Here are the facts. Last week, Chats told Mr. Asafuddin that because he needs 2 people to help him with his lift and sling, he will have to pay for the extra person at the rate of $20 an hour. At the end of the day, it will cost this man $3,000 a month to have the same service he had before. And the lift that was provided under the previous service is being dismantled, and he will have to pay to have it reinstalled at a cost of more than $3,000. I'm going to ask the Premier this. Is that what she considers a continuation of service?
Question.
That is a disgrace. It is immoral. I will ask you now to stop it and to restore.
Thank you. Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Thank you. Premier.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Well, indeed, I was reading from notes because I wanted to make sure I was giving accurate information, Mr. Speaker. We are ensuring that people who are receiving assisted living support will have that support continued, Mr. Speaker. I will absolutely have a conversation with the Minister of Health. I will talk to her about this issue to make sure that we have absolutely all the information. But, Mr. Speaker, we are in the business of increasing care to seniors. We are in the business of increasing care in the community, making sure that people get the supports that they need where they are living, Mr. Speaker, and in a timely way. That is the work that we are doing. Those are the investments that we have been making. If there are specific issues and specific cases that the member opposite would like to bring us information on, we're happy to look into those. But we are providing that continuum of care. The Region of York made a business decision. The local health integration network is continuing that service, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. New question. Member from Newmarket Aurora.
I want to follow through on this same question. And the reason is to the Premier that the facts that she has, don't be telling me the facts are wrong.
Minister of
enough carping
Infrastructure.
From you. I know exactly what the facts are.
Wait, stop the clock. First, Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure come to order. Second, direct your comments to me. Thank you.
To direct the comments to you, and I'm hoping the Premier is listening as well as her colleagues. The fact of the matter is, we are speaking here about people's lives. We're talking about the most vulnerable in our communities. We're talking about seniors and people with disabilities who depend on these services to live a relatively independent life. This government is taking that away from them. I want the Premier to stand up and stop reading from your speaking notes and speak from the heart and tell us that you will do what needs to be done to restore the ACL on-site independent service.
Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Thank you. The member from Bruce Grey Owen Sound come to order. Second time. Carry on.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I will say to the member opposite that we are absolutely and fundamentally committed to providing the services that seniors and people with disabilities, providing the services that they need, and providing those services, Mr. Speaker, in a timely way and in their homes. So that means that there will be changes in the way services are delivered, Mr. Speaker.
Member from Chatham,
but to
Essex, come to order.
Decisions made by the Region of York, to undermine decisions made by the local health integration network, to undermine decisions made by the health providers in York Region, I don't think is responsible, Mr. Speaker. We are working with communities. We are funding increased care to make sure that seniors living in York Region and across the province get the care that they need in their homes, in the community, when they need it, Mr. Speaker. That's what our investments are about, and quite contrary to the party opposite, Mr. Speaker, we are not going to slash those services. That's the policy of the party opposite.
Supplementary.
Well, Speaker, I believe the Premier should undermine those decisions made by the Region of York, should undermine the decisions made by the LHIN, because those decisions are wrong. Those decisions undermine the quality of life of the seniors and people with disabilities in our province. And it is the Premier's responsibility to show some leadership. Just because some other organization makes the wrong decisions doesn't mean that you should support them. And by doing so, what this Premier is saying to people in our province, to seniors, to people with disabilities, we don't respect what you've done for our province. What the Premier should be doing is standing up and saying, we will cancel whatever wrong decisions have been made, we'll make it right, we'll restore those services, and you should stand up and say that today.
Thank you. Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Thank you. Premier.
Very much, Mr. Speaker. Well, you know, it may be in the best interest of the member opposite to undermine decisions made by local bodies like the region, like the Local Health Integration Network. He may have his own political reasons for wanting to do that, Mr. Speaker, but that's not how we function. What we want to do is we want to work with local authorities. We want to work with municipal governments. We want to work with the Local Health Integration Networks, because those are the people on the ground who know the services that are needed in their communities, Mr. Speaker. I care deeply about providing services to people in this province. I care deeply about making sure that seniors have the supports that they need, Mr. Speaker. They have earned them. They have made this province strong throughout their lives, and we have an obligation to make sure that they get the supports that they need. That is why we are investing hundreds of millions of dollars into their care and working with the local authorities to make sure they get the care that they need, Mr. Speaker.
Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Thank you. Final supplementary.
The people in the galleries who are being affected by this wrong-headed decision are not giving an ovation to the Premier. The only people who are the people who are trying to defend the indefensible. The fact of the matter is that wrong decisions have been made. There is time to fix it. We're appealing to the Premier to do exactly that. It is the Ministry's policy that has directed the region to do what they're doing. It is the Ministry's policy that has directed the LHINs to do what they're doing. It is the Premier's responsibility to set that right. One more time, to the Premier, will you stand up and will you say that you will stand with these seniors and people with disabilities and you will set right what has been done wrong? You will restore those services to the people who are here, who depend on those services for their independence, for their safety and for their health.
Thank you. Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Thank you. Premier.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Well, the people in the gallery are exactly the people with whom I stand in, and what I say to them is that we are working very hard to make sure that you get the support that you need. And I know that there may be a change happening, and what we are trying to do is to make sure that people get the 24-hour, 7-day-a-week care that they need. There is a change that is being made, but our intention is...
Excuse me. Stop the clock. I apologize for not catching this earlier. Direct your questions and comments and answers to me.